Sucrose is probably the most underrated character in Genshin Impact. I feel like a lot of people still don't understand that she is actually really broken. And for you, if you're new to the channel, we don't use the word broken to describe character here a lot. Most of the time, we just call character okay, decent, or average, because unlike everyone else, the word broken we reserve for a character that is truly broken. However, Sucrose is a truly broken character, so we're just gonna call her actually broken. And let me explain why. Also, real quick, Happy New Year to everyone. If you're not subscribed to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. And for this year, I hope to stream a little bit more on Twitch, so don't forget to follow my Twitch over at twitch.tv/Tenten Games as well. Anyway, let's talk about Sucrose. Sucrose currently is able to fulfill two different roles in a Genshin Impact team. Number one, she can be played as a Anemo driver for team like Beidou Tasers or a team like Sukokomon. Number two, she can be played as a Anemo support buffer to buff your damage dealer in a team like National with your Xiangling or in your Hu Tao team with a BB Vape. In all of these cases, Sucrose is super meta, and all of these teams are considered to be top of the meta. So immediately you can see that Sucrose appear across multiple top meta teams, and therefore it makes Sucrose a top tier meta character. Let's start by talking about Sucrose as a Anemo buffer, as it's a easier component to understand. With Sucrose being Anemo element, which is the most broken element in the game, she can carry around the most broken artifact in the game, which is Veritas and Set. This lets you massively increase the damage that you do on your team by decreasing the enemy resistance. Furthermore, you can also carry around the most broken supporting callus in the game, which is Falling Tail, which also lets you massively increase the amount of damage you deal by your party. So basically, Sucrose have the most insane callus in the game, but also the most insane artifact in the game, and she is currently the only person who can hold both of them. Starting off on my Xiangling, when I do a Vaporize attack without any Sucrose buff, you can currently see that I'm doing about 8,000 damage on a non-crit and about 21k damage on a critical strike. Let me demonstrate Sucrose potential as a Anemo buffer. Currently, I have a level 80 Sucrose with a level 1 Falling Tail, and most importantly, all my artifact currently is at +0. In total, this gives me 19 elemental mastery on Sucrose. And let's see how much this buff my Xiangling. We're gonna swirl the pyro using a Sucrose elemental skills. We're gonna switch to Xiangling and cast her elemental burst. You can see that on a critical strike on our Xiangling, we are able to do 36,000 damage, up from 21,000. This is a 70% damage increase. One of the most common misconceptions from people who don't understand Sucrose is that, oh, this only happened because your Sucrose is C6. However, if you carefully read each of Sucrose Constellations, you'll realize that none of this actually contribute to what we just did. Constellation 6 increased 20% of your damage, yes, but this only happened to you if you use your elemental burst, which we did not use. Constellation 5 and Constellation 3 only increase your talent level, which don't really matter because you're not comparing Sucrose talent damage. In fact, Sucrose talent don't even matter at all because you don't build her for talent level. Constellation 4 require you to normal attack, which we didn't. Constellation 2 increase the duration of your elemental burst, which once again we did not use. And Constellation 1 increase your elemental skill with another charge, which, because we only use a single elemental skills, also don't matter. None of this constellation actually come into play. A C0 will work just fine. And now we're gonna put artifact on our Sucrose, and now we have 600 elemental mastery. And our damage actually increases all the way to 41,000 on Xiangling, which is double compared to the original 21,000. So just using a Sucrose, you can double the amount of damage you do on your Xiangling. And how is not broken? It's doubling your damage, not just very broken. That is the simplified version of what Sucrose does. And notice how I say simplified version, because Sucrose does much more than just doubling your damage. Sucrose elemental skill and elemental burst also provide a nice amount of CC. On top of that, Sucrose can also increase the damage you do, not just on your Xiangling, but also on your child, which lets you swirl both Pyro and Hydro when you're playing in a national team or in a Hu Tao team, further increasing the damage you do on your Xingqius or your child as well. If your team contain amplified reaction like Vaporize or Melt, anytime that you put in Sucrose, you will see a insane amount of damage increase. So team like Hu Tao Vaporize, team like Xiangling Vaporize, putting in Sucrose basically give you a huge amount of damage bonus. Once again, this is even at a C0 Sucrose, because Sucrose Constellation don't matter at all when you're playing her as a support, and her artifact is so easy to build. You just put the 4-set VV, hopefully you have EM substat on it, but even if you don't, it's okay. And you just put a level 1 3-star weapon that any player can get. But you can use Sucrose outside of reaction team as well. Earlier, I made a video showcasing using Sucrose as a budget Morgana team, where here, same thing, Sucrose can apply VV and give the TTDS to Ganyu, which make her really good, and just giving Ganyu a bunch of damage. You can also pair Sucrose with Raiden, once again doing the exact same thing, shredding Electro, as well as just giving TTDS to Raiden, which provide a massive amount of damage. Pretty much, you can use Sucrose in any single team in the game, and it will give you a massive amount of damage increase. But as we mentioned at the beginning of the video, Sucrose can do more than that. Not only Sucrose can give you insane amount of damage as a Anemo support, she can also dish out damage herself as a Anemo driver or a DPS dealer. You heard it right. Not only she's a insane support, she can also become a insane damage dealer. How is that not just broken? Here we're gonna be using a Sucrose with a level 1 weapon, a Fischl with a level weapon and no artifact, a Mona with no artifact, and also a level 6 weapon instead of a level 1. And we can show you that Sucrose actually does a really huge amount of damage. Actually see that even with this low investment character and not even a full team, Sucrose can actually dish out a very respectable amount of damage by using her swirl reaction. A lot of people might not be aware of this, but in the Genshin 1.4 patch, transformative reaction got a massive buff, and it dramatically changed the meta for swirl reaction. Swirl reaction became insanely OP and allowed you to dish out a bunch of damage. And as Sucrose is currently the only Anemo Callus user in the game, only Sucrose can do Anemo reaction on her basic attack. You heard it right, not on her elemental skill or burst, but also on her basic attack, which allow her to spam a bunch of swirl reaction damage. This just makes her insanely strong, as swirl is such an insanely strong reaction now. A large part of the damage being dealt in team like Beidou Taser is largely thanks to Sucrose swirl damage, and Sucrose contribute to a huge portion of the damage being dealt in team like those. Earlier, I introduced you to a similar team known as Sukokomon, and seems like the community caught on really fast to jump on the Sukokomon train and realize that that team is really strong. And a huge part of the reason why that team is really strong is of course thanks to Sucrose. I think Sucrose is one of the most underrated character in the game right now, and I think it's important for people to recognize that Sucrose is actually really OP. If you guys remember when Kazuha first came out, a lot of the fear crafter were saying like, oh, Kazuha is like 5-star Sucrose, but the reality is that Sucrose is so insanely OP that Kazuha being a 5-star Sucrose also mean that Kazuha is really strong. A lot of people thought that that means Kazuha is weak because they initially thought that Sucrose is weak, but that's just not true at all. Sucrose is so insanely OP, and so this is why we said that, because Kazuha is also OP, so Sucrose being the 4-star version of Kazuha is also insanely OP. Once again, on this channel, we don't use words like insane, OP, or broken a lot. We only use those words to describe character that is actually broken or OP. And in this case, yes, Sucrose is OP and broken, so you really should be building her right now. And with that being said, as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and go build Sucrose, okay? Go build Sucrose.